over on the Be My Own Boss podcast is we've taken a look at the five major flaws and talked about them, and they all hurt independent contracting. We don't need to go through all five, but the first one, the most important one, is that there is no objective standard for what is an independent contractor. Every independent contractor who wants to be one knows that he or she is one, but that's not in the law, and there's no definition. There never has been in 87 years. So it starts with that. You can't get protection. You can't get help from an attorney because the attorney doesn't know. It's not in the law. It's what the people in the legal apparatus decide your case will be, and who wants to go through that.
But there's tax laws for self-employed and stuff. So I guess that really that translates over.
But the labor departments don't have to respond to that. They're allowed to ignore that. They have their own little carve out, their little labor world, like they have their own little EEOC world. And they make their own rules. They have their own cases. They have their own judges. And that's what happens to independent contractors. So absolutely unfair. It's false. It gives the illusion of law, and it's only punishment. That's all it is.
But so I guess let me ask you this: what took so long to find this?
For who to find?
Do you know what I mean? Like, we're talking about 87 years. First of all, anything 87 years ago, I think we can all agree is dated in an age when AI can create a website in 4 seconds.
Steve?
So, I mean, I guess my point is people have done this, paid their taxes, not have any and had anybody bothering them for 87 years. What's up with it now?
The vague definition has become more impossible to reach. And that is this ABC test, which has been modified over the years without people really acknowledging it. And then finally crystallized in 2004 in Massachusetts under the careful attendance of Marty Walsh, former Secretary of Labor and now fabulously well-paid, was it chief counsel of the hockey players
union? Somebody, I feel like he's not that position anymore, but maybe he still is. I know he was. Somebody told me
I saw his name recently.
Okay,
it's a big deal. That's the top of the pyramid here.
That's why I was thinking. We talked about this years ago. He probably made enough in 3 years where he made what he made is 20 years in Massachusetts.
Oh, this is No, he has had a lot of authority, and he has had the full backing of the AFL-CIO. He is a loyal soldier in the upward march of the career march within the labor industry. That's the phrase to remember is that labor law is an industry. And you asked the question moments ago, why hasn't anyone solved these problems? It's because everybody who's associated with them likes the way it is, because it allows them basically to suck revenue, money, cash out of employers' pockets for committing the crime of working with a willing independent contractor. And like nobody resists this because they all get money from it. Even the defense attorneys get money from it. So with everybody in on the grift, the only people who are excluded from this are independent contractors themselves. So it's just fabulous, from a money-making standpoint. So we went down this list of flaws, and the fifth one we came to was salting, which is the idea that an individual can, on their own or paid by somebody else, or remunerated in some way, can go impersonate an independent contractor to a prospective client and say, yeah, I'm Mike Ruby. I actually want to be an independent contractor and I'd like to take this job. And then a couple days or weeks or months later, turn in the client and say, No, they were treating me like an employee. And so I think I've been cheated. My bonuses, my time, my vacation, my health care, my pension, all the good bonuses you have in your company, that these guys have cheated me out of. And then they can disappear, having made what is effectively a false testimony. They're now out of the picture, because nothing in labor law requires the independent contractor to make a statement or to be cross-examined.
Well, when you said impersonate, couldn't it, I mean, not that it would be Mike or Ruby, but couldn't it also be you that did it?
Oh, absolutely. I'm just using my name, so I'm not casting aspersions on someone else.
Because you and I both, I think you know Gail Gordon as well. I know Gail pretty well.
Yes.
That happened to Gail. After AB5, she put on one of her nonprofit shows. And somebody, after the 4 days of production ended, went to the EDD and claimed unemployment.
Yep.
And that got her a whatever, I don't want to misquote it, but I think it was around $20,000, $20,000 fine.
Put her out of business, I think, didn't it?
Well, she was already out of business because of AB5.
Great. So now she's out of business and the penalty.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's how the system works. That's the desired outcome of a system like this, because she will, of course, because she's a human being, tell everybody else in her occupation and all her customers and those who listen, and everyone will get scared. And that's it. You want the secondary benefit is that the left seeks is to squeeze buyers out of the market.
I think you're spot on with that, because she talks to all of the musical and other opera houses, and like they're their own group,
right,
in California. So she probably right away told them, and they were all, I don't know how to word it correctly, so just be careful, but they were all finding ways to have productions for just being very careful right after AB5.
Yeah.
But I think this put an extra scare into them.
Well, that's the purpose. I mean, that wasn't someone who all of a sudden after a 4-week production or something figured out, oh, wait, no, that's all intentional, because it's lying.
Do you think it's always salting, as you call it, or do you think that like somebody, because this was pandemic era too, do you think somebody literally worked for her and said, you know what, I got no other work right now, I'm just going to see if I can get unemployment?
Yep. The unemployment, that's a great point. The unemployment is bait to because the employer has no defense, because there's no objective standard. So yes, the system works this way by intent, Steve.
And well, then I have to ask the question that even though gig workers are independent contractors, I mean, not that it's right, but couldn't they go to the unemployment office if they're deactivated? By the way that you're describing things right now,
they can always apply. There's I mean, it's a free country. You can apply for unemployment, but
I'm not saying they should, and I'm not saying they're going to get a dime. I'm just saying if they, and they shouldn't. And
no, there's nothing.
Shouldn't.
There's nothing hindering anyone from applying for government benefits.
I'm actually bringing it back to your term, salting. Couldn't somebody be salting in that way to get the gig apps in trouble?
Yes, but that is much harder to detect. I mean, if someone some CDE type of company says, we're not using independent whatevers anymore, and so we're not going to buy from you, and someone who doesn't necessarily following the news said, oh, that must mean I can get unemployment insurance. They march down and apply, and they look at and then the authorities take over, and they have their own processes. It varies by office, it varies by state, varies nationally.
Yeah.
And they can look into why this is. And the way the law is written, no employer actually has a defense in any ABC type of labor law environment. And as what they're trying to do is get this into national law, have that same test with the PRO Act and other means. So
yeah, I guess, and my take to all the gig workers is do not do this. This was just an example I was putting to Mike. Do not, because you're not going to get anything. It's going to be a headache. It's just going to be a problem. I was just wondering if it would cause a hiccup in the system
the
and
system,
potentially get the company in trouble. But again,
yes,
if you've been
potentially it
deactivated,
will.
don't do it. It could get you into a mess too.
Right. But see
you know.
here's this wonderful gray area that the law allows, is that the law now has allies among innocent people who thought one thing and, without knowing it, and wound up being on the side of the unions and all the grifting classes who are, deliberately making the situation confusing. If there were some method to like what we proposed is a sign up, elect independent contractor status, get your independent contractor ID, then that person would know automatically. Their friends and their attorneys and their family will tell them, hey, you're an IC. You don't get benefits, but you get a much better career opportunity out of it.